everyone and welcome to the 12 knits of Christmas. And sadly, you know, the whole plan was 12 days, 12 knits and 12 videos, but first of all, obviously the whole series went out late. Now it's also that I don't actually have enough videos for the 12 days, but I still just wanted to upload it because, you know, life isn't perfect. And maybe it is interesting for someone, and if people don't watch it, people don't watch it, and I don't mind that. But yeah, if you saw the previous video, which was day 8, you would have seen that at Christmas, bang smack at Christmas, I got hit with COVID. So it then meant that any filming I did was just kind of progress shots of what I was knitting on, and it was just, I couldn't sit down and film even short snippets of me talking or anything because I was too exhausted and just wanted to focus on healing up. So that is why this is now day 9 through to 12. So it's still not going to be a super long video because I don't have that much to say. And I'm just hoping to do this again next year because I did enjoy it. And now I kind of know, you never know what's going to happen in life. Better to film too much and have longer videos and not run into this situation. Anyway, so this is officially like the last day, last video, and I'm just going to be doing kind of like the final summary of how it all went. So there's a couple of things that I haven't really shown off yet that I'm now going to show, and then also just like a quick rundown of how everything went. So let's start with the things you haven't seen finished yet. First of all, I don't think I ever showed off the completely finished one because I finished it kind of just before leaving for Dubai. So this is the Christmas jumper I was working on. This is the Hillesvåg, which is a kit from Hillesvåg and uses their yarn. And as you can see, it has the colorwork motif of like the snow, or fleas I think those stitches are officially called, these trees, and then you also have a little bit of colorwork at the bottom of the sleeve and bottom of the body. So it's maybe a bit hard to see, but it's a dark, not that dark, but it's like a foresty kind of green and then a natural white. It doesn't appear to be like a bleached one, could be though, who knows. And it took me a really long time to knit this, so I started it in, I think it was like the 1st of December 2021. Yep. So over a year, and I didn't really work on it that much, and it was really just the color work that stopped me. So I'd mentioned already in the series that I ended up using ladder back jacquard after a little while, so you can see where I started because it's these extra white stitches running down here. Those are the ladder back stitches that I kind of, well, didn't cast on, increased a stitch and then later decreased it. So that made it go way quicker because it was so much easier because I didn't have to catch floats as often, if at all. I think I placed them so I wouldn't really have to catch floats. And I just haven't got around to weaving in the ends and washing it and giving it a good block because it does need it. The color work in certain places isn't as good as it could be, and it's also, I know the yarn will really benefit from a wash and block, so I'm hoping to do it sooner rather than later, but we'll see when that happens. But so this one for me is done. Then another finished one that I didn't get to show off in any of the videos, wow, I still have markers in here, nice, are the Sterntaler socks, which I made for a friend of mine. So you can see that it has this moss stitch pattern that runs down the front of the foot, and at the tip of the toe you then sort of fade it out over a few rounds, and it's also a smaller panel on the back of the sock which you also then fade out, and then like a slip stitch heel. Then the socks are quite small because my friend has quite small feet, and it's also, if you look at the original pattern, the like leg portion is meant to be way longer, but I was just like, I don't know if she'd wear them. I know she has gotten wear out of a pair of socks I've made before which were shorter, So I was like, let's just keep them short, and I can always ask her, you know, for Christmas this year, does she want longer socks? So they're all done. I dropped the second one. And you can still see I haven't taken a marker out, because I also haven't washed these and blocked these, because I also didn't weave in the ends. It was just kind of, as I was recovering from COVID, I started to work on these more and more as I started to feel better. And it was then like, oh cool, they're done, and throw to the side and do something else. I did not feel well enough to weave in ends, but I will do that soon. And give these a wash and a block, and then get them sent off. So they're done, and the yarn I used was a hand-dyed skein of yarn by the Fibre Fox called Roast Chestnuts, and beautiful. And it's a sparkle base, so there you go, you can kind of see like the little sparkles in there. So I thought that was really nice for that pattern, especially because, I can't remember if I've mentioned this, Sterntaler is like a fairy tale. So not only is like Stern means star, so it's like, you know, sparkly yarn works for that, but it's also like the fairy tale and everything. I think it just makes sense with the sparkly yarn. And then the only other project that's finished and that I can show off are the elf slippers for another friend of mine. And I think I have shown these off finished. I just can't remember if I've shown enough block. But just a quick another look. So I used Rauwerk DK, the pattern, the elf slippers, and I knitted them from 52 weeks of socks. But I think you can get it as an individual pattern as well. So I thought I'd quickly show them off, just so, you know, because I have them at home. And then the last project that I have, spoiler, or not so spoiler, because if you've watched the other videos, you already know there's no way I would have made so much progress to be able to finish this thing, is the poet shawl. So I don't think it's that surprising that I haven't finished this, because it was kind of the last project that I needed to work on. As in like lowest priority project I needed to work on, so progress has just been really slow, but I am happy to say that like it's slowly growing. So when I started this back in like December, as in like, okay, back up. I started this back in December 2021, where this advent was actually, you know, from. This is the Fibre Fox 2021 advent. And when I started it, I got through day 1, which ends here. And I think I started with day 2, but only did like a couple of rounds. And I didn't fade day 1 and day 2 because I felt like they kind of blended in super nicely. And then it was kind of, you know, because this other color was coming in, I was like, let's give it a go, fade a couple of rows. It would have probably also benefited doing it here, but I was lazy. But I then, during December, finished color 2, finished color 3, and now I believe, so I'm now on day 4, and as you can see I don't have like a heap. This is what a full 20 gram mini skein looks like. So I've made decent progress on day 4, and I think I'm almost at the point where I want to fade in day 5. I think. So it's, you know, it's not a lot of progress, but at least I made some, and I'm just going to continue to work on this every now and then over the year and hopefully finish it by the end of this year. It is just a really big shawl, and it's just all moss stitch, and the increases and decreases are really confusing with like what row you do what, and sometimes I feel like I'm getting it, but then I don't trust myself to do it without the pattern, and so I always have to have the pattern nearby, and it's not the most enjoyable. Except I did find when I actually dedicated a decent amount of time to it and really knit on it for an hour or two, it got more enjoyable. So the knitting itself is fun, it's just the constant looking at the pattern that's frustrating. But it's just for the beginning and the end of the round that's important, because the rest is just moss stitch. And eventually I'll get to a lace chart pattern. That will be really fun. So what are the other things that I finished, which I've shared before. I gave my mum the Life's Better When Camping socks. I've got a picture that I'll include, and she loved them. She was really happy with them, and she really liked the yarn as well, so that was good. My dad got the Looski. I've also got a picture, and it was quite funny because after Christmas, at some point in January, I think it was, after I'd left, my parents ended up going back to Oslo for a week for work for my dad. And so my dad got to wear the Looski and actually, make use of it. And I was saying like, oh, it's a shame that it's gonna, get to him too late because they were in Oslo back in November, I can't remember. So it was really nice that he actually got to use it and didn't have to wait like months and months until he could use it somewhere. So that was really nice. Then the 3 projects for my brother, his fiance, and my niece. So my niece got the little bow. I was about to say my fiance, not my fiance. My brother's fiance got a pair of Sunday socks, which I also showed finish, but I've since then blocked them. And then my brother's vest was like the big one, the Christmas vest that I sort of improvised, but by like using 2 patterns and like merging them together. And I'm just really proud of that one. Really proud of that one. So they're going to be visiting my parents in a couple of months, so they'll be able to then, pick up their little Christmas presents, even though it'll be way later than when they should have had them, but it was better than sending it to Australia. So they're all done and they will have their presents soon. And then it was just the 3 pairs of Sunday socks, and they've all arrived and are loved, and everyone was really thankful for them. So yeah. So out of the 12 projects, it was really only one that I didn't get done, which was the poet shawl. And though I do have to add, I didn't finish everything before Christmas because I didn't need to. So the Sterntaler socks, the Sunday socks for my brother's fiance, his Christmas vest, I didn't get done before Christmas, but I got it done before I left Dubai. So it counts. It was done before the 12 days of Christmas were done, so But yeah, this poet shawl was the only one that wasn't done, and like I said in the first video, the poet shawl and the Juleskogenza were gift knits for myself. As in, I kind of wanted to dedicate time to them, and that's why I kind of viewed it as gift knitting for myself. So one of them's done. No one else got more than one present, so I should be happy that I finished one, and the poet shawl will get done eventually. So I personally really enjoyed this project. It made the whole gift knitting experience a lot more fun because I could kind of share when there were frustrations, and that's something that I couldn't really do on the podcast because I didn't want to share those projects until Christmas had kind of passed and people had their gifts. So I think I will be doing this again next year, and I think it's kind of more just for myself and for anyone who's... I think that's kind of with every video I make. It's more for myself than it is for anyone else, but if people enjoy watching it, then it's a nice bonus. So a nice short little video. I am including a couple of bits from when I got back to Germany back in January. So I hope that's enjoyable to watch, and thank you so much for watching, and especially if you made it through the entire series, and I will see you in another video. Bye.